turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Hi again, everybody. Happy Monday, a special Monday edition of Sports Bash here on Governor's Comedy Club podcast. I'm Peter Schwartz. Thanks for joining us here on this Monday here on Long Island. 516-465-3990 is the number to call here on the show. Make sure you're subscribing to Govs Comedy Club podcast channel on YouTube and Facebook, and also follow Sports Bash Media on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, you can also listen to the show on Apple Music and Spotify. Later on in the program, we're going to talk a little Jets with a good friend of mine, Robbie Sabo from Jets X Factor. The Jets with their latest loss yesterday in New Orleans, and certainly with the Patriots and the Bills remaining on their schedule, it would be a very, very safe assumption and bet to say that the Jets are going to finish with a record of 3 wins and 14 losses. And now, thankfully, with the Titans winning their game yesterday, the Jets now own the 4th pick in the NFL draft, and we'll see how that changes over the last couple of weeks. And also, Jet fans, you need to root for the San Francisco 49ers tonight against the Colts, because with every Colts loss, that first-round draft pick they got from the Colts in the Sauce Gardner trade looks better and better and better. So that's what we're going to have to talk about a lot with this Jets team with Robbie. We'll talk about where they stand, and you're going to hear some alarms going off if you hear that on your show. They're doing some tests on the alarm system, so we apologize for that in the background. So you might hear that from time to time, particularly early here in the show, so don't get alarmed. It's nothing drastic going on, just a bunch of tests. So we'll talk to Robbie Sabo from Jets X Factor later in the show. We'll also have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We'll have what's hot at ticketbash.com and the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. So we have all that fun coming up here on the show. I wanted to start today by talking about a subject that I've kind of held off talking about for the last couple of weeks, and it's a sensitive subject, and I didn't really know how to bring it up because what happened affects me differently than it affected other people. And what I'm talking about is what has gone on over the last few weeks at my other employer, my primary employer, WFAN, and jointly with that, the Infinity Sports Network. So it's been a real difficult couple of weeks to be working over there. And the hardest part of this whole thing has been having to say goodbye to people who I've worked with for years, in some cases since 2009 when I first walked into WFAN as an update anchor. And over the last couple of weeks with things that have gone on, you've had to say goodbye. And I was in on Saturday morning and was talking to one of the producers, and he was a full-timer, and he was losing his job next week. I said, how you doing? And he's like, well, this past week was tough because a lot of the shows on the network ended last week, and the network goes off the air this coming Sunday at midnight when it gets replaced by the Westwood One Sports Network. So with that, with the network being sold off and changing, a lot of full-time people, whether it was executives, producers, hosts, update anchors, all were out of a job as of December 28th. And in some cases, people's last days were last week, and in some cases, people's last days are going to be this week. And with that happening, also comes the news, and this was the part I really was uncomfortable talking about, and I just said I have to address it, and then certainly this morning after watching Boomer and Gio talk about it, I feel very comfortable talking about it. But WFAN, other than the morning show, Boomer and Gio, will no longer have sports updates at the top of the hour starting a week from today. So next Sunday night into the overnight will be the last top of the hour updates that you hear, barring a change that could happen somewhere in the future, but that's neither here nor there. But I will have the honor of actually doing the last top of the hour update on WFAN, which I will record next Sunday night, and it will be on the air at 5 o'clock in the morning on Monday. And it's kind of tough because it's the end of an era for the first ever sports radio station in the world. WFAN went on the air on July 1st, 1987. A big part of the radio station was the sports updates. And if you remember, if you're old enough to remember, when WFAN went on the air, they kind of went in the wrong direction in bringing people into work because they were bringing people in from all over the country to host shows. And until they got the station localized, and then they brought IMUS over when WFAN and WNBC Radio merged, and WFAN moved over to 660, and IMUS stayed with the station. That's really what kept WFAN afloat back in the day. But a big part of the radio station was the sports updates every 15 minutes. And the reason why they did that back then was to compete with SportsPhone, which was my first job at a college. I mean, their intent was to try and damage SportsPhone. And if you know all about it, you used to be able to call 976-1313, and you'd get the sports scores. And WFAN tried to put an end to that. And at the time, if you worked at SportsPhone, like I started doing in 1989, there was a sense of resentment. But also, WFAN was very much ahead of its time with an all-sports 24-hour format. So when WFAN went on the air, July 1st, 1987, I was home from college for the summer. I was at Buffalo State College, but I was home when WFAN went on the air. And for a lot of people who wanted to get into sports radio like I did, it was a godsend. Are you kidding me? Like, I growing up in New York, you listened to Art Rush Jr. do sports talk, and John Sterling back in the day did a talk show on WMCA. Like, there were isolated sports talk shows that were on local radio in New York. Here on Long Island, WGBB had a variety of different, and Tony Walker, my producer, and the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy show, 11 to 12:30 weekdays, nodding his head because he remembers all of that. But when WFAN arrived, I mean, that was a godsend for everybody. And I remember, and I've told the story before, that when I was very little and, watching a baseball game on TV with my dad, all I wanted to do in life was to be on the radio and on television. That's what my goal was. I knew I sucked at sports playing it. I've told a story about when I was playing first base for my Little League team, and we're warming up before the inning started. And you know how the first baseman will throw the ball around the horn, and they'll throw it back to the first. I'm playing first base. I go to throw the ball to the third baseman, and I hit our starting pitcher in the arm, knocked him out of the game before the game even started. I knew right then and there I did not have much playing ability. But when the fan went on the air, I said, I have to work there one day. Like that, it became this dream, this milestone. It became an objective. I'm going to work at WFAN one day. And my first job out of college was Sports Phone. But even as soon as I started working at Sports Phone, it seemed like every couple of months, as I remember, I would put a demo tape together and I would send it to the fan. And I would get back a letter, sorry, we have nothing for you at this time. And I kept getting those in the mail. And finally, and I wish I saved this letter, and I didn't. I threw it out, but it stuck with me. I wish I had saved it. I got a letter one day from Mark Chernoff, the program director, who, by the way, has meant so much to me in my career for, some of the opportunities I've had. But I had sent in a tape, a cassette tape, by the way. I sent in a cassette tape. And finally, instead of just saying, sorry, we don't have anything for you at this time, I finally got a letter back with constructive criticism on it. Mark Chernoff wrote me a letter back saying, Peter, thank you for the tape. I listened to it. And when Mark Chernoff told you that he listened to your demo tape, he really listened to it. And he listened to my demo tape and he said, you sound great. Just work on the inflection in your voice a little bit and we might have something somewhere down the road. And that stuck with me because I worked my ass off at Sports Phone, at WABC. Eventually I got to ESPN Radio, Sirius, all that stuff. And then finally, one day, it was July of 2009. Mark Chernoff was already not the program director. He had been bumped up to another role. Eric Spitz became the program director. And I came home one day, and I don't know how Eric Spitz had my home phone number. I had always given him my cell phone number. But I had sent in a tape, I don't know, months earlier. I never heard anything back. But the night before I get this phone call from Eric Spitz, I was working at Sirius on Mad Dog Radio, doing updates with Mad Dog, who obviously was part of Mike and the Mad Dog and left to go to Sirius. I come home from running some errands, and on our home answering machine is a message from Eric Spitz. Hey, Peter, love to talk to you about, coming in, doing some updates here at the Fan. Are you kidding me? That was a phone call I was waiting for since I graduated from college. I called him back, talked to him, wanted me to come in and talk to him there. At that point, FAN was still in the Astoria studios, at Kaufman Astoria Studios. And I was an intern at FAN years. I guess it was the summer between my junior and senior year. I was an intern at WFAN, so I got to know everybody there. I go in for the interview with him and get hired on the spot to do updates at WFAN. I don't know the exact date. It was in July of 2009. And right after the interview, he sends me into the newsroom to start training with John Minko. I listen to this guy on the radio, and I'm training how to do updates WFAN style with the legendary John Minko. And went through training, and on August 30th, a Saturday night into Sunday overnight, was my first shift on WFAN doing updates. And the first update was supposed to be at midnight, but the Jets and Giants played a preseason game the night before, and it went late, and the post-game show came on late. So my first update on the fan on Sunday morning, August 30th, was probably around 1 or 1:20 in the morning. And as you can imagine, for someone like me, that was a pretty cool accomplishment. I have other dream jobs in the business that I have not yet attained, and hope that would happen before I call it a career. But in that moment, turning that microphone on and doing an update on WFAN was a serious milestone in my life. And I'll always be indebted to Eric Spitz and Mark Chernoff and the management at WFAN for bringing me on board in 2009. And it didn't take long for my role to expand, because I wound up getting more update shifts. I became a regular employee there, filling in and getting Saturday mornings permanently. 2010, they had me cover the Jets, which I had done. They knew of my work from covering the Jets for ESPN Radio. And I started covering the Jets for 3 years. And then the company started CBS Sports Radio, a national company, National Sports Radio Network. And they hired me full-time overnights to do the updates overnights on the network, full-time. There was a point where that job was eliminated because they wanted to go a little bit more, cost-cutting fashion. And that's what wound up happening. And now with the sale of Infinity Sports Network to Westwood One, the network is gone. And WFAN has made the decision not to have sports updates at the top of the hour anymore. So it went from sports updates every 15 minutes to every 20 minutes to top and bottom of the hour to then just the top of the hour. And now that's gone. And there have been people over the last couple of weeks, if you heard people and saw people talking about this, a lot of people are angry about this. Like this, the business is not the same as it used to be. Well, you show me a business that's the same now that it was 30 years ago. It's not the same. Sports radio, radio in general, broadcasting, television, however you want to shape it, it is not the same as it used to be.
Thanks. Hold on.
So I have this weird situation with this because I didn't know how to bring it up and talk about it, because while all those other people lost their jobs, I'm still technically working at WFAN because I'm going to still fill in on Boomer and Geo, and I'm going to still, hopefully, if they'll have me, host a show once in a blue moon. So I hope that winds up happening. But all these things that have gone on in sports radio, and I would tell anybody who would listen to me at work, like, I think this is going to happen. I think that is going to happen. And I knew there was going to be a day where WFAN was not going to have updates anymore. That's one thing. The other thing is that the nature and the landscape of sports talk radio has changed. I said I grew up on Art Rush Jr. doing sports talk. And when you tuned into a sports talk radio show, you talked about sports. And I understand you want to have a little fun once in a while talking about this, that, or the other thing. But to make it a 3 or 4 hour extravaganza of getting away from X's and O's and talking about the things we love to talk about as sports fans, it's different now. What do you want to call it? Guy talk or whatever. Sports radio is different now. And I saw this coming, which is why I'm sitting here in this chair right now. A couple of years ago with Vinny Tickets launching Sports Bash on LI News Radio and eventually bringing it here to Governor's Comedy Club. I knew there was going to be a point where things were going to change, and that's why I'm not... Look, I'll miss the paycheck for Saturday mornings and Sunday nights. We'll make it up and then some somewhere else. But I knew that there was going to be a point where you could see the industry was changing. So I'm not shocked that this is all happening. I feel terrible for the people who lost their full-time jobs. Especially my dear friend Brandon Tierney, who, by the way, launched his own YouTube show today. We worked together at ESPN Radio years ago and worked together at CBS Sports Radio and then WFAN. And with everything that's gone on, Craig Carton coming back, Sal and BT all, both, lost their jobs. And it's sad. Some people that lost their jobs, I'll see them somewhere down the road. Some people who lost their jobs, I may never see again. I don't know. But I just wanted to kind of address it that this is the business. The business has changed. And that's why I am now, more so than ever, pouring my heart and soul into this show. And we're going to grow this show. We're doing it 2 days a week. The hope is somewhere down the road we're on the air more than 2 days a week. I just started a new job with American Soccer Club of New York. Any extra ounce of energy that I had from WFAN is going to get poured into that. And also my work with Greater Long Island and the Long Island Ducks, everything else I do became so much more important to me because now I won't be at WFAN as much anymore. So I appreciate what WFAN has meant to me over the years, giving me an opportunity to do updates, an opportunity to cover the Jets, an opportunity to host shows. And I wanted to close by also saying that Boomer and Gio obviously has meant a great deal to me over the years, giving me a chance to fill in. And I still hope to do that somewhere down the road, whenever they need me. So it's been a sad couple of weeks, but it doesn't derail my enthusiasm for this business. And I hope the people that reached out to me on social media over the last few days to say, oh, sorry about what happened and hope to hear you again soon. Well, this is where you can hear me. Twice a week right now, and hopefully somewhere down the road, we're doing it more than 2 days a week. And I'm here. If you want to talk sports, 516-465-3990. Let's go to Rob in Lake Success. Rob, you're up first today on Sports Bash.
Peter, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fine. I just was thinking about you. I'm thinking about the station. It's changed. And I just want to go on and first say, number one, I had an opportunity, obviously, to meet you numerous times. I am extremely impressed with, you always have been impressed with your work. I think one of the first things I was live, I always heard you on the radio, but when I went to the first Cosmos return at Hofstra, when they retired, that's got to be about 10 years ago, I guess, by now, right?
Yeah.
When Pele was there.
2013.
Yeah. It's funny.
How about getting a chance to introduce Pele? How about that?
That was, I heard you. I didn't see you, but I was actually standing next to Bruce Beck.
Yeah.
He was there that day covering it.
Yeah.
And I was in the stands, and it was amazing. I followed the Cosmos early on, and I was into soccer in high school, and, I still think the World Cup's going to be amazing when it comes here. We have so much we could talk about.
I wish I could afford tickets.
You got tickets already for it?
I said I wish I could afford
Oh
tickets.
yeah, let me tell you, the final is going to be double the price of the Super Bowl. I mean,
it's crazy.
It's talking about
crazy.
the world,
lunacy.
You know, but I just wanted to, before I go into a question on sports and a couple points. You've been amazing, and I'm not just saying that because I know you, and we become. I guess I would call us friends at this point.
I would say a friend. I would say friend is a good term. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. And when you put a face to a person, and then I got to come into your show, which was a blast. I will say you're a talent because number one, you're from my generation, a few years younger, but you're also sports more than a lot of people in the generation that's just coming up, and I'll just leave it at that. They just haven't had the opportunity to see what we've done, and I don't want to bring the station down, but I go back to day one. I mean, I was 26 years old, Peter, when the station went on the air. I was already an adult when the station went on the air. So, I mean, I seen two lives. I seen a pre-FAN life when the Giants and the Mets won championships in '86, and there was no WFAN. And then I obviously saw part two, which was from '87 on to today. It's not the same station. I don't really want to bring it down today. It's not about that, but it's my time has passed. I'll just say for someone who's in Medicare age in a couple months, I'm going to be 65. It's scary, Peter. I got my Medicare card already. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? And I'm training for my 11th Boston Marathon, so I don't feel 65. But all kidding aside, you're a phenomenal talent. You're going to find your way. There's going to be avenues, and I think I'd love to help this show grow. I'll call in. I'll be following it on Twitter and see that you've had some amazing guests. I actually met Kelly Franco. You had her on a few weeks ago. She was at an event. I happened to run into. Very lovely lady. Just want to let you know. I know you did it on lawn and all, but super talented, and she's a baseball lady all the way.
Yep. And
getting guests like her is phenomenal. So you're going to be great. You're going to continue to succeed, and you're going to grow in this business. And that's why I went into business as a physician. I didn't want to work for anybody. When you work for someone. I started out as a phys ed teacher. I taught in New York City, and I said, oh, my God, I can't deal with that bureaucracy for the next 35, 40 years. So I immediately went for pre-med and finished up and did what I had to, became a physician. But I want to ask you a question. Do you get Newsday? Did you get yesterday's Newsday? We get Newsday on Sundays, and I read it every day online, yes. Great. I only get on Sunday. What did you think of that article? And I thought of you, and I thought of myself, because I think you were at that game. We talked about it. 1981, when the Jets 28-3 beat the. You were at that game. I was at that game with my Uncle Stevie in the upper deck of Shea Stadium, and they beat the snot out of Lynn Dickey that day. Oh, they killed him, Lynn Dickey. It was. I remember it being a cold, sunny. I think it was a windy day. It's kind of like today, in a way, very similar. Today is not as windy, but I remember it being a beautiful day. I was at that game, and I will tell you something. When I was in section 42, 3 rows from the top, where that little overhang over there, so we never got rained on. Because my father actually we were Giant fans, and I still am, obviously, and always have been. But when the Giants went to the Yale Bowl, we didn't follow, and there was an ad in the New York Times. You could get season tickets for like $90 for a season up in Tech. Yeah. So we went for a few seasons over there, and I would go, a bunch of games, and I enjoyed just going to football games. I went to the Bills game the following week. Were you at that game? I was not at the playoff game, no. Oh, my God. I was home crying. I was home crying. Day, and I remember Richard Todd drove them down the field. And I know they mentioned in the article he threw an interception that would have been an amazing comeback. Bill Simpson was the Buffalo Bills player who picked that off and I remember it being a very cold. It was a lot of flurries, not heavy snow, but it was actually a really good football game. And then on the way home, I'm listening to the Giant game, because that was a 4:00 start. No, the Giant. No. You know what?
the Giants played the day before. The
Right, I'm
Giants
talking
played
about the playoff game.
the playoff game. Oh, you're talking about the playoff game.
Yeah,
Yes,
the 4
yes,
o'clock
yes,
Philly game.
Yes.
Yes, I didn't go to the Dallas game on Saturday, but I remember watching it. And here I am. I'm sitting in Shea, and I'm rooting so hard. You know, I think the only time I really rooted for the Jets. And I'm saying, oh, and when they beat them, I'm screaming. Me and my dad and go, "We're in! The Giants are in!" And then the Jet fans are looking at me like, "What?"
Well, see now,
okay, they were clueless. I mean, they knew what it meant, but they're rooting for the Jets. You know, for obvious reasons. And if you think about it,
Yeah.
Peter, that was probably one of the biggest days in New York football sports.
No question about it. It was and it was special. And Rob, I actually got to go because I got my guest coming on.
Great,
But because the Jets helped out the Giants back then, you can now help the Jets out by trading us the first overall pick. So
All right, I'll tell you what, we'll do that. We'll do that because you'll be like third, but we got to get like a few. We got to get like 4
We'll
picks.
I'll have my people. I'll have my people call your people. I'll have my people call your people.
Listen, you're going to be great. I'll keep in touch, and we'll talk on Twitter.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy?
You got it. Thanks.
Got it.
Robin Lake
Have a great
Success.
rest of the show. I'll be
You too.
listening.
Happy
Bye-bye.
holidays. All right, awesome. Rob from Lake Success. he's great. Oh, what a tremendous sports fan. And he brought up the Jets. So let's talk about the Jets. And love having this guy on the show. He does a great job with Jets X Factor. And there's a lot to talk about in Jetland. So we welcome to Sports Bash, Robbie Sabo. Robbie, it's Peter. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Peter? What's up, guys? I heard Richard Todd. What year was he talking about?
It's 81.
Okay.
81.
Yeah.
So that was the year that the Jets beat the Packers last game of the season after the Giants won the day before on a Saturday, beat the Cowboys, and then the Jets played the Packers on a cold Sunday at Shea the next day, and if the Jets won, both the Jets and the Giants would be in the playoffs, and the Jets hammered the Packers that day 28-3, and they sacked them a million times, Lynn Dickey, and that put the Jets and the Giants in the playoffs the following week.
Yeah. A lot of my quote unquote fans see the gray hair and think I'm ancient, and I remember that. And I remember that game, but the Coslet days were unfortunately my first.
Oh no! See, I thought you have gray hair from dealing with me when I worked for you.
No. Oh, dude, putting you up, Peter, you are a joy compared to covering the Jets. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm glad I played a small role in your growth and being credentialed
Massive.
for the Jets now and developing Jets X Factor. I want to talk briefly about yesterday, and then we'll get into what lies ahead for the Jets. But Brady Cook getting another start yesterday. I don't know if you would call it taking a step backward, because I don't think he got much help from his offensive line yesterday. But that's obviously one of the reasons to watch this team the last few weeks, is to see, and I brought this up, weeks ago on the show, what if Brady Cook was somebody and we didn't know about it? From what you've seen so far, is there any reason to think that he could be something?
When I first laid eyes on him in OTAs, I couldn't believe it. Like, he didn't belong. He was that bad.
Yeah.
He was overthrowing guys just against air. There was no defense out there, and he was sailing it over tight ends' heads down the seam. I couldn't believe it. I even said to people next to me, like, what is he doing out here? So that was my first impression. When we got back in July and August, it was a different story. This guy improved in an incredible way. I was really high on him in August, and I wrote about it. I talked about it. This guy is intriguing in terms of UDFA level. It's not normal to throw a UDFA in there and have him look that comfortable. So I think there's something there. But while I like him, I also tell fans, listen, you don't expect anything crazy. In other words, if he went crazy the rest of the year, I still wouldn't even trust him as a backup next year. I just want to see if he's one of the guys, if he could be a potential guy.
Right.
He took a step back this last weekend, and I haven't seen the tape yet, but the biggest thing is New Orleans was really playing lagged coverage. I don't know how conservative he was. He went into a shell. I'd rather see him make mistakes and push it downfield than do that. So I think he's intriguing, but it definitely was a step back.
And it certainly means that any thought that the Jets might not take a quarterback in the first round because maybe they think they have something in Brady Cook. I don't think that is a scenario anymore. I think now when you look at this Jets situation with 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years, one of those picks is going to be a quarterback. And the question now remains is, where is that quarterback going to be taken? And I guess there's still a lot of people who feel like regardless of where the Jets wind up picking in the first round, whether it's 5, 4, 3, whatever it is, the Jets are probably going to do whatever it can, whatever it takes to move up to that number 1 spot and take Fernando Mendoza. Are you in that camp that the Jets need to do whatever it takes to move up to number 1 to take Mendoza?
No. I like Mendoza, but right now I think we're just getting a little too carried away in terms of Mendoza or nothing. When you put on Dante Moore's tape, I think Dante Moore's tape is more impressive than Mendoza.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't account for everything. Who are these guys? What are they made of? I don't know. I'm some schlep who doesn't get to meet these dudes, so I don't know. But
that's why you got to go to the scouting combine and take a look.
You know what's funny? I have not gone to Indy yet. I got to go one of these years. I got to get that done. But I love Dante Moore, and I think a really underrated topic is him declaring. The Jets are going to be in a much better position if he declares, but because if he does, it gives them a lot more maneuverability.
Let's talk about, and we're talking to Robbie Sabo from Jets X Factor joining us here on Sports Bash. Let's talk about Aaron Glenn, because I think when he was first hired as the coach, I think there was excitement, obviously, from a lot of Jet fans because he was a former Jets great, and then he went on to be this great assistant coach with the Lions, and now he's the head coach of the team he once played for. I think the bloom was off the rose very, very early on, and there were people, oh, wow, he's going to be one and done. I don't think that's really the thought right now. I think if you look at this Jets team, it looks to me like they have played hard for him all season long, and certainly once they made those 2 trades, trading away Quinnen and Sauce, it seems to me that the Jets are invested in Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji for more than just this year. So it certainly looks to me like this is a work in progress, and Aaron Glenn is going to be a part of it.
I think you're right. It's tough to think otherwise. And listen, we know Glenn. We know who he is. He's an old school principal type of guy. And Glenn coming back, it still wouldn't prevent me from really trying to spread the most important message in my mind to the Jets organization. And that is, we're living in a different football world. And I think the biggest problem the Jets have had is they have not moved into that new world. When you hear Glenn talk about things, his top of mind stuff after games, it's all old school stuff: field position, penalties, turnovers. Brady Cook, and I'm going to watch the tape today. Brady Cook just being hesitant to throw downfield. Where did that come from? Was there no separation, or was that the message that was being preached all week? In other words, Peter, the nerds have won. Liam Cohen is not good at parties.
Yeah. He's
not. But guess what? He is an offensive play caller who moves chess pieces around and does a great job doing it. Ben Johnson, same thing. Kevin O'Connell, struggling with McCarthy this year, but you get the point. McVay.
Right.
Andy Reid. Remember Andy Reid in Philly? Used to get criticized up and down the board for passing the ball in short yardage situations to Westbrook. The league caught up to Reid in a lot of ways. So I just think the Jets are, and count Glenn in this too, and maybe he could reflect and come back, with a new coaching staff and a different mindset. All that stuff, accountability, effort, it's good. It'll always have a place in football, like physicality too. It just doesn't move the needle as much as the X's and O's and tactics and strategy, and they gotta cultivate something in that regard.
Well, he showed accountability by firing Steve Wilkes, the defensive coordinator, and I think it took a lot of people by surprise. All the fans were calling for it, and the media was calling for it. It's very, very hard for your first-year head coach, he's the guy you brought in to run your defense, and for him to make that decision before the first year was up to fire a guy that he brought in, I think it spoke volumes about Aaron Glenn's willingness to kind of bend a little bit here and try some different things. What did you think about that whole situation and ultimately elevating Chris Harris to interim defensive coordinator?
I think it's a positive that he didn't wait 100%. It reflects badly that it was a bad hire to begin with, but to do it now as opposed to the end of the year, you get an idea of who Chris Harris could potentially be. And The first half, it was good. Like the defensive game plan was solid in my mind in New Orleans. Second half, it fell apart, but the offense didn't help. Offense really hurt the D.
They still just give up too many chunk plays, Robbie. It's just
Too many chunk
way
plays.
too many. And I know that they at times get, they suck it up and they hold a team to a field goal, but there's way too many, especially on third and long, they're giving up way too many chunk plays, even before the trades.
Agreed. And listen, we know what their direction is. The Sauce and Quinnen trades cemented it. But let's not pretend it wasn't bad before that. It
sure
was.
was.
And, there's got to be a manning up period here and time to reflect, going into, a dark hole and figuring it out. So I'll say this, Chris Harris, I liked what I saw in terms of game planning. Wilkes was stubborn in some ways. At 3rd and 13 2 weeks ago against Lawrence, that second touchdown, Lawrence ran it in. Stiggers was in press coverage on 3rd and 13 in the red zone. Why? You just, in a league where they throw flags like Tic Tacs, why give the refs an opportunity to throw a flag? Don't be impressed.
Right.
Put your heels at the sticks and let them come to you and rally. Let them catch it underneath and rally. Chris Harris didn't do that. So that's one example of certain changes I saw that I really liked.
So as we head down the stretch here with 2 more games to go, with presumably a loss to New England and a loss to Buffalo.
I got no faith, Peter. No faith.
I'm a lot older than you, Robbie, and I've been through the pain with this team for many years. And look, I would like nothing more than the Jets to knock off the Patriots. I just don't see it happening. I would like to see the Jets spoil the party for the last regular season game at the Bills' old stadium, but I don't think that's going to happen. So let's kind of look past these last 2 games into the offseason. How do you see things evolving? And when all is said and done, with the Jets having those 2 first-round picks, assuming they keep both of them, where do they go and what's the biggest need going forward? Obviously, quarterback is one, but going beyond that.
Yeah, it is. There are a lot of holes on the team. Quarterback, Dante Moore, such a crucial factor. Things change in a hurry, and Mendoza winning the Heisman and Indiana doing their thing. He's hot right now, and Simpson and Moore hasn't declared, but Simpson and Moore are, they're a peg below. But I view those 3 really similar, and if Dante Moore declares, that's major. So quarterback's definitely one. O-line, they're solid. They could use another guard. We'll see what happens with Simpson. I know he's here, but...
Do you think they bring Vera Tucker back?
He's an interesting one, and he's in that class where you just hope no one goes...
He's always hurt.
That's the thing. You just hope no one goes crazy and offers him crazy money. And if no one does, then you are in the driver's seat to bring him back on a cheap deal and see if he could be a plus. That would be my mindset, because if he stays healthy, he's a tremendous lineman. So as long as no one pays him, do that. Defense everywhere. They need D linemen. They need interior guys, edge guys. The linebackers, they have talent. We know that with Sherwood and Quincy, but they have not been able to play the way Glenn and Wilkes wanted them to play. They are very small linebackers as a duo. East-west, eluding blocks. Sherwood was better this past weekend. So it's more of an identity thing with the linebackers, but they'll need one. They'll need a heavier guy to replace Quincy, because I think Quincy's gone. Peter, everywhere. They need everywhere.
Yeah, because it's pretty depressing going to these games. I went with my family a few weeks ago. We saw the win over the Falcons. But It's just they just need so much to reinvigorate the fan base. It just seems like there's so much apathy. But I think on the other hand, too, the 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years, I think, gives the team some hope. So the one last thing I would say to you is there reason for the Jets fan to be hopeful and optimistic?
Always. Hey, listen, as bad as it gets...
You say that so confidently, my friend.
As bad... Hey, the universe is strange, Peter. As bad as it gets, think about... And this is the hope. Think about the moment, the time when it actually does turn unexpectedly. That picture, that mental image is what has everyone still... They may be apathetic at some times, but still loosely engaged.
Well, I'll be in the hospital if that happens. Because people have always asked my wife. I think I may have shared this story with you before. I know I've shared it on the show, but I'll repeat it again. People have asked my wife Cheryl what would happen if the Jets go to the Super Bowl, not just win the Super Bowl, go to the Super Bowl. And she said the first thing she'd have to do is take me to the hospital because I would have a heart attack.
You and when you get there, your roommate will be Joe Beningo, I'm sure.
I don't want this to sound cruel, but I hope in his condition he would actually make it to the hospital.
Oh, I mean, he has been through the war on the front lines. Like, swap out Tom Hanks for Joe B and make it a Jets backdrop and save it Priming Ryan. We're good to go.
We have had and one of the other things I'll miss about the updates ending at FAN was every Saturday morning after my 6 o'clock update, Joe would make sure to tell the producer, because he would do his show Saturday mornings remotely at home. He would make sure he would tell the producer to keep me in the studio, because we would end up having this 20-minute gab fest right after my first update of the morning. And a lot of that obviously always centered around the Jets. Oh, Peter, our football team, oh, the pain.
It's therapy.
It is therapeutic when you talk about something like that.
Like, I grew up with the Fan. I grew up with Mike and the Mad Dog, 90s, remembering you on the station. Like, listen, I'm definitely not a radio guy, but it is sports. Radio is sports, and talking about it is therapy. And Joe B, man, he is the. I'm not saying it as a bad. Like, I'm not saying it like Keyshawn to Corbett. Right. He's the mascot of the Jets fan base. He really is.
He
in so
is
many ways.
Truly one of a kind. We've had him on the show. We'll get him on again at some point. And Robbie, I can't thank you enough for spending some time here on the program. Happy holidays to you and your family, and let's hope for the best. You expect the worst, but you hope for the best with the Jets, and we'll do this again during the offseason as the Jets carousel of moves starts to unfold.
You got it. Appreciate it, fellas, and happy holidays.
All right, thanks. Robbie Sabo from Jets X Factor. Find him on social media. Engulf that content that he has on that website. They do a wonderful job breaking down the Jets with film and analytics. It's an unbelievable job that they do with Jets X Factor, and we thank him for coming on the program. When we come back here on the show, we're going to have What's Hot at TicketBash.com. We'll have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, Coach's Collectibles item of the week, and we'll also take more of your phone calls at 516-465-3990. We're coming right back after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $7,100 each. And your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyWyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. I'm Peter Schwartz. Many, many thanks to my guest on the show, Robbie Sabo from Jets X Factor. It's going to be a very busy and eventful off season for Gang Green, and also for for the Giants too. And we didn't really get a chance to talk much about the Giants on the show. We will a little bit more tomorrow, and when we'll do our last show of 2025 next Monday. A little sneak peek. Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post will be on the show with us next Monday. We'll talk a little bit more about the Giants with him next week. I did want to just go back to what I started with, and that's the whole WFAN thing. And the one thing I didn't get to touch on because we went to the phone call and then we had Robbie on the show. But one of the big questions I've received privately and publicly over the last couple of days, how can WFAN get rid of the updates? And let me just kind of like put a dot the I and cross the T on this whole thing. The landscape of sports talk radio has certainly changed over the last few years. And certainly technology like this plays a role in it. Because now, it doesn't matter where you are. Like, you've got this, and we've been out, and my son, I remember my kids and I, a couple of years ago, my wife and my kids and I were out having dinner one night at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we're having dinner, and my son, Dad, the Islanders just hired Patrick Waugh as the head coach, and that comes, you get that at your fingertips. And if you're management of the Fan or any other sports talk radio station, do we really need to have an update person when people get their sports scores and news on the phone, or if you're at work and you see it on the computer or whatever it might be? And that's where the business is right now. Now, as someone who's 58 years old and has done this for 36 years, I don't have to like it. I understand it. I don't like it. Because while this is cool to have, and it's great to get stuff on at your fingertips and scroll through Twitter and stuff like that and find out what's going on, there is still this element of sports talk radio over the years that has been the update. And listen, if you're driving in your car, you really shouldn't be on this looking for scores. So there's always been this, it's top of the hour, let's put the Fan on. Or even before Wins stopped doing updates, 15 and 45, you just put the thing, you get all the scores. It's just a different business now. It really is. Show me, I said it before, show me an industry that hasn't changed over the years. Everything, banking, healthcare, retail. You don't have to go to a Target and get crap anymore. You order it on Amazon, or you order it on Target.com. You don't have to, and it's probably contributed to society being a little bit more lazy than you'd like people to be, but that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. And I get it. I understand it. I don't have to like it, but I'll just tie it up by saying I still believe in sports updates. I believe they play a role. If I was programming a radio station, again, this is not to knock Odyssey, and still my employers, because I'm still going to be around from time to time, but I still believe in updates. And to the point where after next week, when we come back after the first of the year, and I believe that's on Tuesday, January 6th, will be our first show of 2026. Yes, Tony reaffirms that. I have decided we're going to add a sports update to Sports Bash.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm glad you approve of that. It's my show, not yours.
I was supporting.
I appreciate
and cheering.
I appreciate that, Tony. And I love this. I can bust his balls no matter what. And he can do the same thing to me, and that's why I like it here. because I've worked some places where the person on the other side of the glass or the person sitting next to me wouldn't know the difference between a hockey puck and a basketball. So, like, I like having Tony around and his strong sense of humor. But yeah, we did it on the old show when we were at the airport at LI News Radio. We had we called it the Sports Bash Flash, and I'm going to bring it back. We are going to bring it back on Tuesday, January 6th. At the beginning of the show, because I don't want this coming Sunday night into Monday morning to be the last time I do sports updates. I want to find a way to continue doing them, whether it's here on this show, on social media. It's been a big part of my life, a big part of my career. I think I'm pretty good at it. Other people, I'm going to sound like WWE superstar Becky Lynch. It's not just me saying it. Sports Illustrated, like other people have said it about me. So I'm going to go continue to do it. We're gonna find a cool way to indoctrinate it here into the show, and also on our social media channel. So I made that executive decision this morning when I was thinking about it. So we're going to bring the sports update back. The Sports Bash Flash is coming on Tuesday, January 6th, when we come back for the start of the new year. What's hot at ticketbash.com. By the way, it's also another element to the show for potential partners and sponsors and things like that. So there is a method to the madness on that. On the sports calendar, tomorrow night, the Islanders host the Devils at UBS Arena, while St. John's hosts Harvard at Carnesecca Arena on Christmas Day. The Knicks host the Cavs at MSG. Upcoming shows and concerts. Fish is coming to Madison Square Garden December 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st. WWE Monday Night Raw coming to Barclays Center on January 5th. Jerry Seinfeld's run at Beacon Theater continues on January 9th. And Rascal Flatts will be at UBS Arena on January 29th. Get the best seats at the best prices with no service fees at ticketbash.com. Do we have a phone caller?
We do.
Let's go to Mark. Is that Mark?
It is.
Mark, you're on Sports Bash. You're up next.
Well, I mean, Hirsch. It's Hirsch to you.
Oh, it is Hirsch. Yes, I could barely see the phone here. I see Mark. It could have been any number of Marks, but I'm glad it's you, Hirsch.
Yeah. So here's my take. A couple of things. I mean, listen, I'm a WFAN junkie since the inception. You know how I feel about you as far as being one of the consummate update guys in the history of the station. There's no secret about that. I am very disappointed about WFAN's direction when it has come to some of the on-air personalities, as well as the removal of the updates. It's definitely criminal to me. I'm a little intrigued, though, about what you just said, Peter, as far as adding the updates to Sports Bash, only because, and certainly tell me if I'm wrong, but the fact that you do the show midday, a couple of times a week. Do you think that the updates won't be as significant because they're not coming in the evening during the time of the actual games, and there's not going to be any games happening during your sports bash? You know what I mean?
It's a great question, Mark, and I totally understand. And I think what we're going to try to do with it is come up with a way to do it where it fits into what we're doing here. Obviously, if you're not, we're only on for an hour, at least for the time being. So obviously, if we do an update at 1 o'clock, by the time we get off the air, some other stuff could have happened. I get that, but I think we'll come up with a way that we can make the the update interesting and entertaining for the people who are watching it. I don't think it'll be a traditional top of the hour WFAN update, but I can't go on in this business without keeping my toes in the water when it comes to updates. So I'm going to go to the drawing board through the holidays and figure out a way how will we start the show with an update that will set the tone. I sound like the TV show Shoresy now. That will set the tone for the rest of the show. And I by the way, I welcome your input on it too. If you want to shoot me a note.
I'm just thinking it. I kind of love it, and I think as you go along, maybe over the next weeks and months, maybe like a guest update from a Minko or an Ackerman or a Hershkowitz or I don't know. That would be kind of neat if you kind of added that little wrinkle in. Because
I was thinking maybe I would have Tony do the update once in a while too.
Well, Tony, listen, Tony's voice is a terrific voice. He's the voice of governors as far as their voicemails and all that stuff. So I think absolutely he could do it. There's no question about it.
If you call the switchboard, the switchboard here, and you don't get somebody live, you get Tony?
Yeah. That's correct. Tony's
we should
voice.
do that on the show now. Just dial the number, see if anybody answers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Tony's been the voice of White Post Farms, been the governor, so there's no doubt that he's able to do it. And I won't keep you much longer, but I certainly want to just mention one thing that I had mentioned in conversation to a recent guest, Jake Aspin, that was on my show. As far as this Aaron Glenn stuff, I mean, I don't know if you saw the presser today or last night, but I'm at my wit's end of him telling us that they're building the foundation and hold the rope and they have a plan. As far as I'm concerned, Peter, and I'll hang up after and I'll listen, but I don't think there's a plan. I don't think there's a foundation. There's no coach. There's no quarterback. There's no hope. And I don't want to sound like a typical Joe Beningo miserable Jets fan. But that's how I feel today, Peter. I really do, and I think I'm entitled to feel that way.
No, and Hirsch, thank you so much, and happy holidays to you and
you too.
and your family. And listen, I get it. Yeah. I was in that shop early in the season with Aaron Glenn. Like I did not care to ever hear. And there were nights at the Fan where I did updates. I'm like, I'm not playing any of that crap on my updates because I didn't want to hear, oh, we tried hard and this, that, and the other thing. But as the season has progressed, and I've seen the players, play hard for him, win a few games, and you can see that they've made some moves here to try and set themselves up for the future. I just don't think it does the Jets any good to be one and done. It's not like he's been a total embarrassment as a head coach. Now, some of the things that comes out of his mouth I don't care for, but I do think he deserves a second year. I think he needs to still put his little blueprint of his own on the Jets, and we'll see what happens as we go along. It's time for the Sports Bash Media Poll Question of the Day, brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash, get a free dessert with your meal. We post a new poll question every Tuesday and Thursday, in this week's case, Monday and Tuesday, on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. What would be your choice as a holiday gift based on your favorite team? So if you're an Islanders fan or a Met fan, whatever it might be, what would you like under your Hanukkah bush that just ended, or under your Christmas tree on Wednesday night? Would you like your favorite team's jersey? Would you like apparel or merch, whether it's a hat, T-shirt, hoodie, whatever it is? Or do you want tickets to a game? Let's go over to Tony first. Oh. Give me the team and the item that you would like under the Christmas tree.
Well, of course, it's Mets.
Yes.
I'm a little torn. It's either tickets or if the merch is a photo opportunity, then I would.
You love the photo.
I do love the photo ops.
You love the photo ops.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. So in my case, it would be the Islanders, and I can get tickets anytime I want, so I don't need the tickets. I think I think. And I've kind of outgrown the whole jersey thing. I mean, I still wear jerseys from time to time. I think it would be Islanders, and I think, and my wife has been amazing with this over the years, I think a nice Islanders hoodie. I think that's where I would go. Because the tickets I've already taken care of. I've got my Bossy jersey that I wear at games every now and then, so I don't really think I need a jersey. Just a nice Islanders hoodie. I think that's where I would go. Time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. It's this signed Keith Hernandez Seinfeld collage, signed by Keith Hernandez. What a great episode those couple episodes were. Who does he think he is? I'm Keith Hernandez. That was great. And by the way, speaking of Keith Hernandez, so Thursday morning I'm doing updates on the Fan. On Christmas morning, Richard Neer is hosting, and he's hosting from 6 to 10. From 8 to 10, because he does the show out of North Carolina, and that's where Keith Hernandez lives now too. So Keith Hernandez is going to do the last 2 hours of the show with him. So I'm going to get to do updates a little bit with. I wonder if I'll get to talk to him.
Well, and speaking of Seinfeld, Neer just posted on social media. Yeah. He just helped Keith move down there.
Yeah, that was the great episode.
Right.
And then Jerry backs out of it because he thinks it's too soon into the relationship. Right. And then Kramer, of course, jumps in, and he's the one who helps Keith Hernandez move. What a great episode! And then the thing with the spitter, with the spit. when you watch the show, and did you think there was an alternate spitter? And who did you think was going to be Roger McDowell?
No to both questions.
Yeah. I'd love to get Roger McDowell on the show. He'd be a good guest, right?
Yeah, I would think he would.
I would have talked to Jay Horowitz about that. That'd be great. How do you feel? 1986 World Series champion, great relief pitcher. How did you feel to be the alternate spitter on Seinfeld? And Grieco, I'm hit. That was awesome. For more information on all of these events, visit coachescollectiblesny.com. Coaches Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Boy, am I behind schedule here. Tomorrow on Sports Bash, and talking about WFAN, this is going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. Legendary WFAN host Steve Summers will join us by phone to talk about his new book, Me Here, You There. Also tomorrow on the show, I'm going to turn into Santa Schwartz on the show tomorrow. Because I can't say Hanukkah Schwartz because Hanukkah ended yesterday. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to give all the local teams the holiday gift that they really need. So we're going to go through the 9 major pro sports teams. I have not done that list yet. I'm going to do it tonight. And we'll give everybody, all the teams, Mets, Yankees, Jets, Giants, Islanders, Rangers, Devils, all the way down the list, the 9 major pro sports teams, we're going to give them a gift for the holiday season on the show tomorrow. And by the way, speaking of Seinfeld, you know what tomorrow is, Tony?
I see it here, yeah.
It's Festivus tomorrow. Do we have a poll in here? Do we have a poll?
I have a baseball bat.
You have a baseball. When you need a poll.
All right,
Frank Costanza.
I know.
You need a poll.
I
would have to try and find a poll. I must have one in the house.
Might actually have.
Oh, look, Tony is getting up. He's going to go look to see if there's a poll. If we have a poll, we could have a Festivus miracle here tomorrow. What's he got over there? Is that a hockey stick? It looks like a hockey stick.
It's a social distancing stick.
Oh, it's a social distancing. Let me see that. Here, pass that through. Could we constitute this as a pole? Because in Seinfeld, it was an aluminum pole. Well, this could be the safety net for it. We'll see if we use it as the pole. We'll see if we can find another pole. Maybe I'll take the pole from the door of our Florida room, which is like the pole that holds the door from opening up and sliding back and forth. Right. Maybe I can bring that in tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But yes, tomorrow is Festivus, and so we'll air our grievances tomorrow here on the show. I know Tony has some. I've got a few, needless to say. So we'll do that tomorrow. And next Monday, I kind of teased this before, our last show of 2025. Next Monday, I'll be joined by Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post. And then also next Monday, we'll have our New York area sports New Year's resolutions. What our local sports teams need to strive to do in the new year that it will be known as 2026. And that will do it for this edition of Sports Bash. And boy, we packed a lot into 66 minutes so far. That'll do it for today's edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Thanks to my guest, Robbie Sabo. Thanks to the phone calls. Thanks to Tony Walker and everyone here at Governors. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. Thank you, everyone, for watching Sports Bash. Back tomorrow, Tuesday, 1 o'clock. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.